All right, if we want to graph a line using the slope and the y-intercept, first we want to identify what the slope and the y-intercept are. So if we're looking at an equation, remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So if we line that up with our equation, you can see the number in front of x is our slope and the constant is our y-intercept. So you can see that our slope would be 2/3 and our y-intercept would be -3. So to graph, I'm going to start at the y-intercept. So I'm going to start at -3. And then my slope is rise over run. So I'm going to rise 2 and run 3. Rise 2 and run 3. And then I can connect those values and I'll have my graph. Look at another one of those. All right, for the next one, you can see that your slope is the number in front of x. So your slope is -3/4, and there's nothing being added to that. So your y-intercept is going to be 0. So that would be -3/4 x plus 0. So we will start at our y-intercept of 0, and we will rise a -3, which means go down 3, and we will run a +4. Now, when you write -3/4, that also could be +3/4. So another thing we could do is from this y-intercept, we could rise a +3 and run a -4. And you can see that point would also be on that line. Now, there are a couple of special cases. If you have a horizontal line, every horizontal line is going to be the equation y is equal to some number. So, for instance, if you've got the equation of a vertical line, that's going to be x is equal to some number. So if down here, if you've got x is equal to -2, if we come to -2 and we draw that vertical line, again, anytime it's x equals a number, we know it'll be a vertical line. Something that might help us with that is that you'll notice that it crosses the x-axis. It has to equal x because it crosses x. So that's an easy way to remember that if it's a vertical line, it's got to be x equals a number instead of y equals a number. Additionally, every vertical line is going to have no slope or an undefined slope. So you can see that for this one, our slope is going to be no slope or undefined slope. And then for our y-intercept, where did it cross the y-axis? Well, it didn't. And so our y-intercept would be none. You can't get that from that equation. You've got to get that from knowing the information. All right, so if you've got y is equal to number, we know that's going to be a horizontal line. So over here we've got y is equal to 4, so we know that's going to be a horizontal line at 4. So we could go ahead and draw that. Every horizontal line has a slope of 0, so you can kind of think about in geometry you had a protractor that kind of looked like a half moon, and right there at the beginning measurement was 0. You can think a horizontal line is 0 degrees of inclination. And then where did it cross the y-axis? Well, right there at 4, and so its y-intercept would be 4. Now, parallel lines will have the same slope, while perpendicular lines will have slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other. So, for instance, if my slope is -2, then the parallel slope would have to be -2 as well. They have to be the same. The perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So the sign is going to change. If it was negative, it would change to positive. If it was positive, it would change to negative. And the reciprocal just means that I'm going to turn it upside down. So 2/1 becomes 1/2. So for this next example, it says find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through the point -4, 0 and is parallel to y is equal to -2x plus 1. They didn't give me my slope. I need a point and a slope. They didn't give me my slope, but we can look at this and we can see the slope of this line is -2. And if my line is parallel to that, then that parallel slope also has to be -2. So I can come down here and I can put in my slope of -2. And then my y-intercept, I can put -4 in for x and 0 in for y. So -4 in for x and 0 in for y. And that enables me to solve for b. So I'll get 0 is equal to 8 plus b, subtract 8 from both sides, and b is -8. So now to write my equation, y equals mx plus b, again, remember that m was -2, and we just found out that b was -8. So we could say -2x minus 8. If they asked me to give the perpendicular equation, all right, we said the perpendicular slope would be the negative reciprocal, so that it would be a positive 1/2. So we can come over here and put 1/2 in for the slope, and we're going to put -4 in for x, and we're going to put 0 in for y. And again, that enables us to solve for b. So we'll get 1/2 times -4 is -2. If we want to get b by itself, add 2 to both sides, and b is 2. So when I'm ready to write my equation, y is equal to mx plus b, remember that my slope was 1/2 and my y-intercept was a positive 2. So that would be y is equal to 1/2 x plus 2.